If you're anyone unfortunate enough to be caught in the rabbit hole that is the Dragon Ball franchise, you might have seen a particular term be discussed and thrown around known as form cycling in various discussions. Now, most of the people watching this video are going to know what I'm talking about before even clicking on the damn thing, but for the few who don't, or perhaps haven't gotten an adequate explanation, I'm going to take at least a minute to do so. Form cycling is the practice, usually in modern Dragon Ball, where a character, let's just say Goku, fights against someone and cycles through his various transformations during the course of the battle for whatever reason. Now, we don't concretely know what the point of form cycling is. I mean, we can suspect and we can hypothesize and we can believe our own stuff as much as we like. We can say it's there for marketing, it's there for fan service, it's there for padding, maybe all of these are true, potentially none of them are, but it is a thing that keeps happening in the Dragon Ball storylines that are coming out nowadays, and it's usually something that, at least in my circle of friends, is not looked on very favorably most of the time. In fact, for me personally, the whole term form cycling has become synonymous with fluff, filler, padding, pointless crap that's just there to elongate a particular battle because the story needs it to, or because the animation people need a break. So here's just something going on to appease the audience until the next bit of Sakuga kicks in. And there are very good reasons for why people, myself included, do not like the practice of form cycling. It usually does just come down to wasting time, seeing a character fight another character in a transformation that we already know is useless, but they're gonna do it because wheels have to be spun. And there are two very big examples of this that I can name off the top of my head that perfectly showcase why form cycling as it is used nowadays does not work. The first one is Goku vs. Jiren during the Dragon Ball Super TV special, or rather episodes 109 and 110. However, to get proper context for this case, we have to go back to episode 100 of Super, the infamous one where Kale goes full on Broly again and proceeds to ragdoll Super Saiyan Blue Goku like a total punk. Jiren sees this increase of power and for the first time in the tournament up until that point, decides to intervene, basically one-shotting Kale almost out of the tournament itself. Already establishing that Jiren, in this most relaxed state so far, is an absolute powerhouse that has to be taken seriously. So, can someone explain the hell to me why Goku is wasting time firing a Kamehameha at this guy in his base form and cycling through multiple different transformations, all of which are useless, as he should well know, when they finally engage each other in the TV special? As already stated, Kale was able to ragdoll Blue Goku. Jiren one-shots Kale. Any logical person would assume that, okay, Jiren's a powerhouse and Goku's not gonna waste any time using anything but Super Saiyan Blue to beat him. But that doesn't happen. As we already established, Goku wastes a lot of time on pointless fluff that has no purpose. And before some idiot tells me, well, Krillin explained that Goku is testing the abilities of his adversary. But Goku has already seen what Jiren can do. He's already established himself as at least a blue level threat, and quite possibly a lot more than that. How the fuck does firing a Kamehameha wave at this guy in his base form establish anything whatsoever? The next example comes from Dragon Ball Super Broly. So, God Vegeta beats on base Broly. Broly powers up into his initial Wrath state and proceeds to ragdoll God Vegeta. He powers up his wrathful state even more and then proceeds to have a 5-minute long battle with base and Super Saiyan Goku. Now, this whole battle in the film is done by Ryo Onishi, so that makes it a visual spectacle and all that kind of stuff, and that's great. But once again, it serves as a really good example of why form cycling is pointless fluff, because we know that Goku is not gonna be able to beat Broly using base and fucking Super Saiyan 1. And we also know that Broly is not gonna beat Goku down into a bloody pulp before he gets to God and most especially Super Saiyan Blue. So even if you're enjoying the animation on display during this segment, in the back of your head you're just gonna be thinking to yourself, okay, this is cool, but can we get to something that makes sense and matters to the events of the film, please? At least that's what I think whenever I watch it. And before someone tells me, well, Goku is overwhelmed when he fights Broly, motherfucker, Goku gets thrown through a damn mountain into the ground and a whole bunch of other stuff, and he comes out of it completely unscathed. In previous Dragon Ball content, when someone was overwhelmed by another opponent, they tended to get hurt, they tended to bleed, they tended to actually lose in some kind of tangible way. If Cell did to Goku what Broly does to him in this movie during this particular portion of the battle, Goku would have been fucking dead. But because it's form cycling and we have to waste everyone's time, base Goku can fight against someone who is many times stronger than him, get blasted through a damn mountain, and come out completely unscathed. Not only does this stretch suspension of disbelief, it is once again, as already established, pointless padding that adds nothing to the story. It doesn't establish how strong characters are in relation to one another, which is kind of important for a show based around fighting people and self-improvement. But I'm not going to spend the entire video complaining about form cycling. In fact, I'm going to offer a solution to how form cycling can work and even show you an example of when it did, very rarely. In Universe 6 tournament arc, Goku fights Frost. He proceeds to beat Frost down as a Super Saiyan and drastically wound him. In the preceding battle between Frost and Piccolo, we see that Piccolo is struggling even against this weakened Frost. This helps us establish a pecking order that while Piccolo might be stronger than base Goku, Super Saiyan Goku is still quite a bit above him, and so is Frost. This is what form cycling should do. It should be there to help us have some kind of sense of how strong one character is in relation to another. This is important because Dragon Ball is a show about fighting people, progressively stronger and stronger people, and improving yourself. Having a pecking order so that we can have some kind of idea of how much someone has improved or perhaps even downgraded in terms of power and skill is something that absolutely matters in the context of the show. I don't need power levels being thrown around, I don't need any of that kind of stuff. But a pecking order is absolutely warranted and would improve the show and show us that someone behind the scenes actually cares about how strong characters are in relation to one another. And in a better show, form cycling could be done well. It has, on very rare occasions, as I already exemplified, been done well. It's just that Dragon Ball Super most often has absolutely no rules. Characters can just fight one another in various different transformations, and they can win or lose based on the whims of the screenwriter and the moment. And that doesn't exactly create a very compelling watching experience for me personally.